All right, g'day everyone, and welcome for the orientation session for the trauma-informed workplace in the Diploma of Trauma-Informed Care. For many of you, this will not be your first subject, so you will have been studying in the diploma for a little while, or for at least one semester, and you'll be aware of some of the general rules that we have in TAFE Digital that relate to plagiarism, submission of assessments and things like that. So I'm not going to talk a lot about that, but I will just briefly touch on it. I really just wanted to give a bit of a rundown on what this particular topic's about, and just make sure that everybody's comfortable in what they'll be studying this year and what it means. What I would say, and I'll repeat it during our workshops, and particularly next week in our first workshop, is that this particular topic, being trauma informed, means that we're covering perhaps sensitive issues. And we all know that many people that we work with have experienced trauma. And also the people in our organisation, including ourselves, have probably experienced some type of trauma. So it can be triggering. So it's really important that we look after ourselves and think about how we what we do if something comes up that upsets us, and who can we talk to, and how can we debrief that? Okay, so there's obviously lots of options around that. You might have someone already in your family or a peer that you can talk to if things come up, but you can also talk to myself, Carly, or anyone else within the TAFE environment, and we can also refer you to other locations for assistance if that's what you need. So don't be afraid to say, well, wow, look, this is really impacting on me. I think I need to talk to someone. Because I think that's the first step of becoming trauma-informed care, is also understanding how trauma impacts on us as well. So this particular subject focuses on organisations and why, on organisations and how important it is for organisations to be trauma-informed. Because for organisations to be trauma-informed, it means that we're going to work with our clients better, and that's what's really important. So we do know, like I've already mentioned, that trauma is common amongst people that access community services. And not only that, trauma is common amongst people that access a lot of services that may be particularly crisis-driven services. So if you think about insurance companies, for example, often when people are needing to speak to an insurance company about a claim, they may have been involved in a really bad situation. It could have been a bad car accident. It may be that they've been part of flooding, which has been very common in Australia in recent years, bushfires as well, or other natural disasters. So people access all different types of services experiencing trauma. We also know that trauma is often unrecognised or undisclosed. Okay, so it can be difficult to recognise trauma. We can sometimes see signs of that in the way that somebody may behave or how they may present that brings us concern. But it's also so difficult to be able to get that person to talk about it, and also how we might raise any concerns that we might have with individuals who may be displaying different types of behaviours that makes us think, hey, what's happening for this person? One of the big things about trauma-informed care is moving from a space of thinking what's wrong with that person to asking the question, what has actually happened to you? What has happened to you that has caused this, that was caused something to impact on you the way that it has? Also, we also know systems can unintentionally re-traumatize. So even community services, who should be very au fait with this type of thing, they can often be in a space where they're rigid in the way that they operate, and so they unintentionally re-traumatize. Also, other organisations, it's like, again, insurance companies, for example, who don't intentionally go out to re-traumatize people, but because of the hoops that have got to jump through. Also, government departments like Centrelink, and child support areas, all those types of things can have a triggering effect on people and actually re-traumatize them. So what trauma-informed care is basically a whole of organisation approach. So it's not a therapy or treatment. It's about what we do, what we put in place to ensure that we are meeting the needs of people who have experienced trauma. What we're trying to do is we're focusing on safety, trust, and empowerment. Okay, so we're trying to get people to feel comfortable in the space. We want them to feel safe. We want them to trust us, and we want them to feel like they can actually go out and do something for themselves. So providing that empowerment. Like I said earlier, it's about shifting from what's wrong to what's happened. Okay, so globally thinking about, well, what's wrong to what's happened, that's really important as well. And this type of thing sits across the whole of the organisation. It's not just up to the one worker. It's actually should be a whole of organisation approach. But as an individual worker, sometimes we need to raise our concerns if things don't sit in that same space. So why trauma-informed workplaces matter? Well, it provides better outcomes for service users. It's a safer and healthier workplace for those that work there. It helps reduce burnout and vicarious trauma for the workers, and it's ethical and sustainable practice. So it's really important that to emphasise that it benefits both clients and staff, and it's about reducing harm, improving engagement, and looking at how we support long-term well-being of the people that we're working with. So hopefully this unit will build you practical skills in that area and can apply across all sectors that we may work in. So not only within community services sectors, but also private sectors. And some of you may have previously or may still be working in the private sector, depending on where you're up to in your life cycle. All right, I'm just going to not do that. I want to stay. I want to stop sharing. Stop sharing that, but I'm going to share my screen. So let's let's do here. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, so I've got my screen shared now. I want to open up and where's that? Give you this to have a look at. All right, so this is yours may look slightly different. This is my view, but yours may look slightly different. So this is our homepage for our Moodle. It's where everything happens and where we need to know about. Okay, so all right. You need to let me know if you can currently access any of the weekly topics, because I'm just looking there now and I'm not sure. So let me know if there's any problems there, and I'll get it fixed. But just to sort of point out a few things. So here we have the latest announcements. Now, this is a really important area. It's on the left-hand side of your screen. Every time you log in, have a look. Okay, so you can see that that's the latest one that puts in. It'll also take you to older topics. Okay, so if we press on older topics, it'll bring you to the page. There's no older topics at the moment, but this is where it all happens, and this is where you need to make sure that you're accessing at least on a weekly basis, and particularly before the workshop on a Tuesday, because this is where any information that's important to the workshop or other aspects of the course will be placed. In terms of checking it on the Tuesday before the workshop, it's important because if I'm unwell, or there's some other reason that I'm unable to attend the workshop on that night or provide you with a live workshop, this is where I'll let you know, okay? And also in our Teams channel. So I'll let you know. I'll also post a message. Let me bring Teams up. You'll get a message in this area as well. So in our Teams channel, I'll place it in 2 spots that let you know that I'm unavailable and that I will. But there will always be a recording done. So even if I'm not available, you will always get something. By the end of the week, you'll have a recording that you're able to review as part of your weekly work. In terms of assessments, let's go back to our course page. So we're going to go into our subject guide. Subject guide is really important. We'll go into our assessment summary, and we'll talk more about assessments as the weeks go on, so don't worry too much about it. I guess the main one you need to know about at the moment is that in week 2, there will be a quiz, which is 10% of your overall course. It relates to week 1 and 2 topics, mainly week 2 on legislation. All right, so that's the first job you've got to do. And then you've got a little bit of a break. So you've got week 7, another one in week 10, and another one in week 13. So you've got 2 case studies and an advocacy plan for social change. Not going to spend too much time on that tonight or this afternoon, because you don't really need to concern yourself about those quite yet. But we will discuss them regularly. Access the resources that we give you. Okay, that's really important. I'm just going to stop sharing. Got a bit of a phrase. I hope it's better. Access the resources that we provide for you. being a diploma subject, you don't have to have a stack of references, but what you do use needs to be referenced properly. Every student, no matter whether you're continuing student or a new student, you need to actually do the plagiarism module again. So please make sure you do that before week 7, so you know what you've got to do, and also to allow you to submit the assessment, because you won't be allowed to submit it if you haven't completed that module. So we think we've got about 14 or 15 people enrolled. I don't expect everyone will be online every week, and that's okay. If you are online, hopefully we can engage and make the subject topical and try to learn from each other, because I think that's really important as well. Please try to go into week 1, and there's an activity there that allows you to introduce yourself, and also to just give a bit of an overview of you. That's a really important thing, and we'll talk about it more on Tuesday night for those that come online, because it helps me understand who you are. I've already posted in there, and I know one other person has. So I've posted in there about who I am, what I've done, and what I'm doing. So you understand a little bit about me and where I may or may not, or where I come from, and what my experience is in this particular area. So looking forward to the semester. Can't wait to get into it and get moving. So hopefully see you on Monday night. Reach out as you need to by email or through the Teams channel. You can always send me a direct message. I check messages at least once a day, but often more than once a day, and we'll answer you as soon as I'm able to answer you. So that's it for now. See you 7 p.m. on Tuesday night next week. Bye for now.